Hello, lovely people. It's Nicola back in the Stitches and Smutdashery sewing room. It's Friday. Let's see. I think it's the 11th of April. This week has kind of dragged a bit. I guess I'm feeling a little stressed about traveling on the weekend because it's a long trip all the way over to see my family. It's 3 flights. It's always very tiring. I don't know. I think it's never as bad as I think it's going to be, really, because, you know, we take our entertainment with us. We have entertainment in the back of the plane seat with that little screen, and we take snacks and something to do, and it's not that bad. It's just the thought of it ahead of time. I'll just be glad when it's done. I had a couple of shifts this week. I have another one this afternoon, and then I will officially be on holiday for 2 weeks. I've been really enjoying being back on the floor. I work at Michael's, and for a while there I was on cash every day because the regular cashier was away, and now she's back. And so I'm having fun putting stuff away. I think a lot of people were wondering why I was having so much fun the other day, just sorting out all the DMC embroidery floss. But you know what? I just got it done, and it was really enjoyable. Also, it helps that the floss is on the very back wall of the store, and it's nice and quiet back there. I did have to answer a few questions and head off to show people where things were a few times, but on the whole, it was a very relaxing day. That was nice. Let's see, what else has happened this week? I had a haircut. You probably can't tell the difference. I had a haircut last night. I wanted to have something that was a professional cut rather than a I hacked it myself cut for the funeral next week. Excuse me. And so I went up to the salon up the road. It wasn't my regular stylist, and this one is not quite as adventurous as my regular one. I said, oh yeah, just buzz the sides, you know, I want it really short. Well, yeah, it doesn't look a lot shorter than I had it before. She did a little bit of clipping, but mostly it was the scissors. And I thought, okay, she's obviously not believing me when I say I just want it really short. That's okay. At least it looks more intentional now. And most of the colour's gone, even the little bleachy bits that were up there, I think most of them have gone now. So when I get back, I think I'm going to have to go nuts with the colour again. Yeah. It's a beautiful day today. Spring has definitely arrived in the Okanagan in British Columbia. We have Forsythia blossom going nuts out in the garden, and we have apricot blossom. I did try and get some film of it yesterday, hoping it's worth putting in. I was trying to film it against the sky, but really it only shows well if the sky is really blue, and it was grey yesterday. But then this morning about 7 o'clock, I tried getting some footage of it from up on my deck, sort of looking down, and I think that might look better. So you will have already seen that. If it was worth using, you'll have already seen it in the intro. So let's talk about what I have been making this week. As you know, there has always been making. I just wanted to show you this first. This is one of my crocheted baskets that I made a long time ago, but look how full it is. It is heavy. I think it weighs about 10 pounds. So what I did this week, partly inspired by a string piecing library book that I got out and partly inspired by Kate of the Last Homely House, I made some string pieced blocks. And I've just realized I've left them over there on my ironing pad, my lovely ironing pad that I made last week, and I showed you how I made it. And oh man, I love it. It's right next to the sewing machine. I can just sew something, lean over, press it, come back, do the next step. Fantastic. The one thing with using fusible interfacing for a string piece block is that sometimes your iron gets a little close to the interfacing when you don't want it to. But most of the time I manage to keep it away from there. And I've pretty much wiped out my stash of lightweight, very lightweight fusible interfacing. And I want to make more of these blocks, but I'm going to have to use fabric for the next lot. The idea is to make cushion covers. Let me get rid of this pile. So just to explain, I pretty much emptied out my scraps, making the string piece blocks. I made 16 of them. And then I went through all of the tubs of quilting cottons up on the top of my cubbies there. And I took out all the smallest pieces and put them in this basket for the next round. Crazy, hey? Anyway, I'm just going to grab those string piece blocks for you. I did a little bit of footage of me leafing through all of them so that you could have a closer look at them all. So the method I used for this was to cut 10-inch squares out of this fusible interfacing. And then I would put one strip, oh, that's looking messy. There's threads poking out between two strips there. Oops, that's not looking good. So I would put a strip in the middle, right side up, and then another strip on top of it, right side down, and then sew and flip and iron, and sew and flip and iron both directions until all of the interfacing was covered. I didn't care about colors. I just wanted to make sure I didn't repeat the same fabric twice in one block. So they are very random indeed. I've got some robins on that one and some other patterns. I've got pigs on this one. And I've got Valentine gnomes down the middle of that one. So they are a little bit crazy. There's tomatoes in that one. Let's find another wacky one. Let's face it, they're pretty ugly, but that's okay because it used up a ton of stash. It's interesting because I had some of this fabric, this grey bubbly fabric, and after I'd sewn it on, I noticed it had some marks on it. And I thought, well, too bad, I'm going to leave it. But I just realized today, oh no, there is. I thought the ironing had maybe made the marks go away, but actually there is a little bit of pink writing on there. And that's why I got it as a remnant, because it has some weird stuff on it. That one's got like a Halloween cat fabric in it, and the orange there. More pigs, more Halloween cats, because pigs and Halloween cats totally go together, right? Yeah, just a crazy amount. I'll put some extra footage of me going through them one by one in there somewhere. So they're 10 inches finished. I have roughly 18-inch pillow covers. No, not pillow covers, 18-inch cushions, throw pillows for my sofas. So my sofas we bought years ago is a 3-seater and a 2-seater, and they came with 4 cushions, brown cushions. I'm not really a brown person, I have to say, not anymore. A long time ago, in my 20s, I used to buy from Great Universal Catalogue, where you had to mail order things, and every season, like fall or spring, I put together a lovely coordinated outfit. And I remember one summer it was turquoises and yellows. Oh, that was lovely. And then one winter it was all browns, and another winter it was all maroon, you know. I was working in an office. I had to look office smart, which in those days means something a bit different from what it does now. But yeah, I don't wear brown anymore as a rule. It's a bit more colourful these days, as you can tell. So here's my stack of 16 squares. So I can put the 16 squares together. I'll probably put them so that the stripiness is offset a bit to make it a little bit more exciting than having it all one direction. So if I put them in groups of 4, then that'll be 4 sides of 4 cushions. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that pile of scraps that I just showed you to make 16 more blocks, because that'll be a whole nother set of fabrics. And so what I'll do is I'll just make the fronts, backs, another 16 blocks, put those together, or just thought, maybe I'll just make the 16 blocks and maybe I can just mix and match them with these. Yeah, maybe I'll do that. Just make it look a little even more chaotic. Why not? So I won't be sewing any of these together. In fact, I probably won't be doing any more work on this project until I get back from holiday. So yeah, I'll probably just have to do, when I get back, I'll whack another 16 blocks out. These only took me less than a day to make because they're so quick and easy. So I will churn another 16 blocks out, and then I'll decide how they're all going to go together. And then I can figure out how I'm going to not attach them, but once I put the cushion in, I might just do a little button loop and a button or something. I know there's another way I could do it with sort of a folded or overlapped back, or I could put a zipper in, but I don't really want to waste zippers on this. So yeah, that's going to be a project for the end of the month. I'll be back on the 28th. So assuming I've got the energy and I'm not jet lagged and exhausted, I'll be doing more sewing on that. I have been pushing hard on the Granny Wrap shawl by Annaboo's house, because I have in mind that if it fits in my bag, I will take it with me to give to my sister. Now, it's going to be big. It already is quite big and bulky. And we do not check in bags as a rule. We just put our essentials into cabin legal sized backpacks. Mine is a cabin max. It's as big as you can go while still being within the parameters to fit in an overhead cabinet. What do you call them? Overhead. I can't. Storage. Is that what you call it? Mine is blanking. I'm not taking any bulky clothes. I'm going to be wearing the bulky cardigan that I plan to wear part of the time, so that's all right. And then I don't have a lot of other bulky stuff to go in the bag, so I'm hoping that this will fit. So currently I have a billion ends along that top edge, which is the beginnings and ends of my rows. I have done about 50 rows now, I think. If you make this according to the pattern using the Stylecraft Special Chunky, I think it is, and an 8mm hook, 46 rows is as big as she goes. But this is Lion Brown Heartland, which is a worsted weight yarn, and a 5.5mm hook. So I'm really loving this colour combination, which is just as well, because these are the colours I had in the stash of the Heartland, and I didn't want to get extra just to make it. And it's burning through the balls of yarn very satisfyingly. I'm going to probably hit the microphone right now, but if I hold this up and put it on, hope you can still hear me. If I put it on the way they designed it, then it comes down past my waist. which is good. And then if I wear it as a traditional shawl, it almost comes to my elbows. I mean, you really want a traditional shawl to at least come to the elbows, right? For maximum coziness. My sister's slimmer than me, but about the same height. So I think a few more rows and this will be done. So I have today and tomorrow to add maybe a few more rows and weave in the ends. That's going to take a while. And I was wondering whether to add some sort of edging across that top edge where it's going to be all woven in ends. So at some point I have to decide, okay, it's big enough, I'm stopping now. But what I think I will do before I decide that it's done, I will pack it up, fold it up as small as possible, and see if it's realistic to have this amount of bulk in my bag. I think it'll be okay. And what will be nice is if I do manage to fit it in, obviously I won't be bringing it home with me, but also I think my niece wants a blanket made out of her baby's onesies. And that means that I know I will have room for that coming home if this is then out of the bag. I do love Granny Stitch. The love-hate thing, isn't it? Granny Stitch and Granny Squares. But, yep, I love it. A quick update on the reading this week. I finished one book. I showed you the stack of library items I had out last week, didn't I? So many magazines and books. It was a bit much. But I finished Jodi Picoult's Lone Wolf, which I really enjoyed. It's funny, sometimes you start reading these books and you're like, oh, I'm not sure if I'm going to get into it. First few pages, you're wondering what's going on. And then you get stuck into it. You don't want to put it down. She really is an amazing author, as I have said before. So, yeah, I recommend this one. I have already started on another one of hers called Mercy, which starts with a man who has come into the police station where the main character works and confessed to the murder of his wife. She's basically riddled with cancer and she wanted him to just end it for her. So he put a pillow over her face and smothered her. So now it's going to be all about what sort of process, legal process, happens and what the outcome is of that. Yeah, I'm not far into that, so I can't really give you any spoilers because I don't know how it's going to turn out. I'm just wondering if I'm going to be able to finish it before Sunday. Probably not. I don't think I'm that much of a fast reader. As I say, I do have a shift this afternoon and I'm also going out for lunch with some friends tomorrow. So what with that and packing, there probably won't be a lot more crafting or reading this weekend. I went shopping, clothes shopping yesterday with my son. And he picked up a whole ton of things like jeans and sweatshirts, not sweatshirts, a hoodie, jeans, hoodie, and sweatpants, which he needed. And while I was in the shop, I saw something fun, which I've wanted for a while. I now have some really pretty wellies. Look, they're wellies. Wellington boots, aka rubber boots in Canada. Yeah, I just couldn't resist. I've been wanting something like this for a while. I have some really old blue ones that I bought maybe, how long have we lived in Canada? 30 years? 31 years nearly. And I bought some blue rubber boots, which are very short. They're far too short. They probably only come up to about there. Probably almost that long ago. And I just feel like maybe I'll be a bit more excited about going and helping my husband in the garden. I have some really fun, pretty boots to wear. We'll see. He might still end up doing everything on his own, which he doesn't really mind. He actually loves gardening. You know, if I had a choice between gardening and sewing, I think you know which one I'd choose, right? Yeah. But when I do it, when I do go out in the garden and, you know, plant a few seeds or help with stuff that needs doing out there, I'm really enjoying it. And I like the fresh air and the feeling that you're moving and using your body, which is a really good idea. Because sewing can be a little sedentary, can't it? So last week, I think I showed you this bag last week. Yeah, I did. Some days I wonder. So this is the Sunshine Crossbody Bag from Bagstock Designs that I made last week. I used cork. It's a very thin cork, and to be honest, I have my doubts how hard wearing it will be. Came from Fabricland. I had to make sure I avoided the bit with the hole in because it was really just a remnant. How much did I have of it? About half a metre, maybe? And there was a bit of damage on part of it, so I had to be careful to avoid that. But this just uses a tiny bit of your accent fabric, so that's nice. Unfortunately, I did not have any more of this fun pig fabric. I have used almost all of it except for a couple of scraps, which is a shame because I wanted to make a tote bag out of this cork as well. Now the plan was to make a tote bag that went with this that would be the maximum size I could use as my personal item on the plane. So my cabin max bag, you can have 2 pieces. Still, they haven't changed that yet. I think Air Canada may have changed that now, but WestJet and British Airways still have the thing where you can have a personal item, like a handbag, plus your backpack or little rolling suitcase, as long as it's small enough to fit in the overhead compartment. So I was thinking that if I had a tote bag that went with this, I could put this inside the tote bag and then slip a yarn project down the side as well. And so it would all fit into a slightly bigger bag and I'd be maxing out my capacity. Well, it didn't quite work out like that, but I do now have a very lovely tote bag. It's all cork on the outside, which is very lovely, I have to say. I did the math and I tried to make it as large as possible while staying within the parameters of the size for the personal item. And for the front panel, I did it in 3 sections so that I could have a zipper pocket here. So I didn't want to do one of those inset pockets where you like draw a rectangle and push the lining through, because I thought the cork might not play well with that. So what I ended up doing was I did a nice easy flat section here and then put the 2 side parts on afterwards. And I'm using this really, really cute flowery fabric, which you'll see more of on the lining. So originally, I think I was just going to use black webbing, but the turquoise webbing, it had to be, because look how much turquoise is in that beautiful lining. It's so pretty. I put 1 slip pocket in there. It's a bit gapey because I didn't divide it, but it'll fit my phone or anything in there. And then I put silver magnetic snap on to match the silver rectangle rings. So rather than just sew the webbing straight into the top, I did a connector that holds a rectangle ring, and then I attached the webbing to the rectangle ring, which I think adds just another nice little detail. So if I put this bag, which was the plan, into this bag, I'm not sure how bulky the Sunshine Crossbody will be once it has stuff in it. But there's really not a lot of extra room in there. Looking at it again, it might work. But considering how, you know, wide the bottom of that is, once you put it into the bottom of there, there is more width there. So I may yet do it like that, because I would like to fit a, I don't know, a crochet or a knitting project in there. And I think this would be cute to carry through the airport. And it's small enough to fit under the seat on the plane. Yeah, talking myself into it. I think I'm definitely going to take this with me. I think there'll be enough room. So let's see what's the difference here. There's at least a couple of extra inches in the depth of the bag, the tote bag, compared to the handbag. So I think it'll be okay. I was originally going to take that crazy lime green one with me, but that tote bag is too big to be a personal item. And seeing as the cork items coordinate with each other and go with my outfit, I don't usually care whether the bag goes with my outfit or not, but this I think will work perfectly. So yeah, I'll be taking that upstairs and putting it with my other holiday stuff in my bedroom, ready for Sunday. So I just checked my notes, and there was another thing I needed to mention. I've subscribed recently to 2 new YouTube channels, new to me, that is. They're not new. One is Mary Mabel Market, and the other one is Rain Vermont. And if you are interested in scrappy quilting or creating or textile art, I think you'll be interested in what they do. Mary Mabel Market, she does a lot of building quilts from scraps and showing you different techniques to use up your scraps. And Rain Vermont does some amazing textile art. She uses a thing called her embellisher, which is a Janome. Can't remember what the code is. It's a machine that is now discontinued, unfortunately, but it's a Janome thing that looks like a sewing machine, but it has a whole bunch of little barbed needles with a little protective clear case around them, because you wouldn't want to get your fingers under this. Believe me, it would completely make mincemeat of your fingers. And so she puts lots of fabric scraps onto a backing. Sometimes it's felt, sometimes it's batting, and she'll just put it all, she'll run over it with this embellisher, and it basically felts almost everything together. And then she'll sometimes put organza over that, or tulle, and then she'll do machine stitching like free motion quilting over it. And then sometimes add other embellishments like lace or beads or whatever. And I watched a few of her videos last night while I was plugging away on my crochet shawl. And yeah, I really enjoy the stuff she makes. It's very inspiring. So if you enjoy that sort of thing, go check them out. I'll put the links in the description under my video, and I'll probably will have put it on the screen by now as well. So I think that's pretty much all I was going to talk to you about today. As I say, I don't have a lot more crafting time available to me between now and the time we fly out on Sunday. I've stocked the fridge, so the 3 men who are staying behind, the 3 young men who are staying behind, will have stuff to eat. Of course, they do buy their own food a lot of the time, and they certainly can cook and look after themselves perfectly well without me. But I got in some basics just to make sure they hopefully eat some vegetables. And it's nice when we go away and the kids are here, and so they can keep an eye on things, make sure everything's locked up at night. And if it was the summer, they could make sure the sprinklers were running. But of course, that's not a thing yet. We haven't got the underground sprinklers switched on yet. But yeah, for security purposes, it's nice to have them here. I think now that it's so much harder for young people to afford to rent or buy, that there's going to be more extended families living under the same roof. hey, we're just part of the trend now. So it's up to Mr. Stitches and me to enjoy our trips away with just the two of us, so that we can have a little fun with just us, you know. Sometimes I think it would be nice to have the house to myself, completely to myself. But yeah, that doesn't happen very often these days. That's why I have my sewing room. I think I saw a thing on Facebook the other day. It was like, what do you do for your self-care? Or what do you do for yourself? And I said, I retreat to my sewing room. It's very good for the mental health, I have to say. So feel free to leave me a comment and say what you do for your mental health, because I think that's important, especially in these days of craziness and turmoil, shall we say? Without going into depth here, I think you all know what I mean. It's April 2025. Yeah, you know what I mean. We all need a way to de-stress and get out of our head and into our hands. So I think I'm going to finish it up here. It might be a relatively short vlog this weekend. So while I'm away, I will not have my regular editing software with me because I'm not taking my laptop with me. So it will be footage taken on my phone and just edited with the app on my phone. But I will try and do that periodically. I will have a decent Wi-Fi connection. I'm staying with my sister this time and not my father-in-law. Husband's staying with the father-in-law. I'm staying with my sister. So yeah, we're not going to see a lot of each other while we're away. After all that saying, we need to get away to spend some, you know, husband-wife time together. We're really not on this trip. But I will have good Wi-Fi, and I will do my best to upload maybe some shorts or a short video, maybe halfway through the holiday, and with some footage. There's going to be some beautiful scenery, of course. Being in Jersey, it's a beautiful island. It's surrounded by beautiful beaches and has a lot of, even though there's a lot of cars and there's a lot of people, there's a lot of also lovely green spaces where you can go walking and get away from the madding crowds. So hopefully I'll get some good footage of that. So thanks very much for watching once again. Really appreciate you being here. Appreciate your comments and your likes and all that jazz. So I'll see you again soon as possible. Bye for now.